We're excited for a great matchup at home. It's an undefeated Kentucky team. Got a lot of respect for what Mark has been able to do there, and tremendous job developing players. And each and every time we've played them, it's been extremely physical game. So I know our fan base will turn out, and we're excited to have another big-time matchup at home.
About Brock Bowers, he was off to a roaring start catching the ball. Now you've got a lot more receivers up to speed. We see Darnell out there. What is Brock's role moving forward?
Same as has been all year, to execute and perform at a high level, which he's been able to do. We've played some different kinds of defenses, and he's done a tremendous job. And I thought he's had probably two of his best games, the last two games, in terms of physicality and execution, and really pleased with his work ethic and the things he's been able to do.
Hey, Kirby. Kentucky's defense, does a pretty good job, it seems like, of keeping things in front and limiting explosive plays. Just wanted to ask you, when it comes to competing against that, what's your take on what it takes to be successful against that kind of defense?
Well, it's tough. They have a lot of different looks. They match their fronts with their coverages. They change up their coverages. They've got three high looks, quarters looks, really good disguising, some really twitchy guys up front. You got to be physical. It's hard to play action those guys because they have more depth in their defense in terms of how deep they play, so they prevent a lot of that, and they confuse you because their looks are very similar. You got to have a smart person to know where to go with the ball and execute all around them.
Yeah, Kirby, right now in the SEC, there are five head coaches that came up through the defensive side, and of course you and Mark. And the two undefeated teams in the conference are from defensive side head coaches. Do you think defense is coming back in style in the SEC, or what do you kind of make of that?
I'm not real sure. I mean, it has a lot to do with the players on the field more than the coaches, in my opinion. I mean, I think both of Mark and myself, we have good players, and those guys go out and compete at a high level. I don't know that it has anything to do with your history or your background in terms of that. It's a different kind of year in the SEC so far. You've seen some different kinds of offenses and some different kinds of defenses. Defenses have more towards trying to prevent explosives and trying to match the offense with some people playing three downs and six defensive backs across the league. So some of that's changed, but I really don't think it's pertinent in terms of who the head coach is.
Yeah, hey Kirby. Good morning. You guys have had a terrific season despite kind of continual questions at quarterback. What's the key to being able to navigate who you're going to use, and where do things stand there right now?
Well, the key to navigating is having good quarterbacks, and we feel like we have some good quarterbacks who've been in our system that understand it. They're kind of all in year two, and they've had a lot of work, where last year this time there was nobody that had been in the system for more than 3 months. So to be successful, you got to have good quarterbacks. You got to have good players around them, and we've been fortunate to do that and be able to have some physical brand of football, which has helped us the last two games especially.
Yeah, Coach, I don't expect you to be able to update us any more than you did last night on JT, but I'm just wondering, have you guys discussed, or would you consider, if JT continues to hit on the trajectory of better health, to doing some kind of a rotation like you guys did earlier with Stetson and Carson, maybe a 2-1 or every other, or I haven't seen you rotate a whole lot, in your career as a head coach at that position in particular.
Yeah, Chip, you know how I feel about hypotheticals. I mean, we're focused on getting ready for Kentucky, and focused on getting the guys ready to play. That's I don't think really past that. I mean, there's not. I can't control any of those things you're talking about. So what we're trying to do is get JT healthy and get him as healthy as possible.
Coach, I hope you're certainly doing well today. You mentioned earlier about the third consecutive very physical game, be it Arkansas, Auburn, and now Kentucky coming up. Of how do you prepare a team for a stretch like this, knowing that you do have that bye week coming up next week, but this has certainly been a physical stretch for you guys?
Yeah, they're all physical in the SEC. If a coach tells you it's not physical, he's lying. So I can assure you, when I say that it's physical, there's not going to be a game in our league that's not. It's just the way it is, and it's a tough physical game, and a lot of good players in our conference that you go up against on the line of scrimmages. So both of them are going to be that way. In terms of what's looming after this game, has no outcome on this game as far as the off week. It's not like you sit there and say, oh, we got an off week next week. That has nothing to do, no bearing whatsoever in how we prepare for this one or what we do, because it's really all about Kentucky at this point.
How would you evaluate overall the quarterback room? I know you get asked about JT a lot, but just collectively, how would you say both quarterbacks have played for you this year, Coach?
I think they've both done a good job. I think depending on the game or the situation, they would be the first to tell you there's things they could improve on. They could execute better, make good decisions. You know, we've turned the ball over probably more than we have in the past. We've been explosive, which is important. And if you can be explosive without the risk of some of those turnovers and decisions that I wish we had back, that would be more what we want. But those guys work really hard, and they do a good job of commanding the offense. And I think between the offensive staff, the offensive line, the skill players, and those quarterbacks, they've done a good job.
I know that the team's not distracted by game day being on campus 2 out of 3 weeks, but is there a major impact as far as recruiting when you're able to bring in that sort of attention?
I don't know. I think we'll see. You get more attraction of players wanting to come to the game. You know, there's probably more infatuation with saying I want to go to the game because game day's there than just I want to go to the game. So I think that helps bring attention, and kids certainly like that show in terms of it being at campus, more excitement, those kind of things. But they don't get much direct involvement with them.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about the Kentucky quarterback, Will Levis. What are some of the challenges he'll bring to the game for your defense?
Toughness, quick decision maker, ability to run, ability to defend the 11th man. You know, he's really good zone read runner. He does a tremendous job of keeping the ball in the belly and reading it a long time. And he's very accurate in his decision making in terms of pulling it. But he's a physical runner, and he puts his shoulder down. And, you know, there's 10, 15 times this year where he willed himself to a conversion. And that's challenging when you've got an extra guy with legs that can do that.